Hi everybody, this is Judy Parcell. Today we're experiencing a rather overcast day. Maybe we're going to get some rain and some relief from our drought. That's just a happy thought I have. Anyway, I am going to do the rest of this pumpkin painting I started. You can tell that I've kind of finished this part, but this is lacking. And so I want to get in and define this a little bit better. And I thought I'd do a video, and you can watch me do that on this painting. So let's get started. These are the brushes I'm going to be using. And I've mixed on my palette from Blick. I'm using those Blick liquid colors. You'll see that. I love this liquid watercolors. I'm doing yellow, green, blue, and I have a bit of orange over here, just to make things easier. Anyway, that's what's on my palette. I have 2 tubs of water. One is for cleaning brushes and the other is for dipping in to get water. Very important. Alrighty, so let's get started on this. Where do I want to go? This part down here, like I said, is done, and I want you to get a really good view of that. I put a little brown or orange here, and that makes the leaf look like it is kind of turning, and then because all the leaves aren't going to be perfect, so I did a little bit here, and I put in some shade in here, but I allowed the color to kind of come through, and a little shade in here, and then underneath in these places here. The background I painted blue. Is that all wet? Ugh. Anyway, excuse me, just comments to myself. So this is areas that I would kind of like to finish. I kind of like the idea of letting that trail out and not be finished. And that's just me. And so I thought I would start on this section right here. And doing some, maybe some shading up in here. Some of these brushes are dirty. Whoops. I'm just making sure they're not loaded with another color, because once you lay it down, that's it. So I'm going to come in with a darker green, maybe a little bit of yellow added to that. Okay. I think I need a finer brush for that, actually. Yeah. Alrighty. Now I know this is kind of yellow, which is kind of how it worked out, but then I'm thinking the light is coming down here, but this could use a little bit more curvature, if nothing else. So I'm going to define this a little bit better by using a little darker green and coming up, and then I'm going to just sort of let that go into the, so I'll go down here. And underneath here, this needs to be loaded a little bit more. There you go. I get so cautious that sometimes I'm my own worst enemy on this. Let's load this thing up here a little bit. Okay. I'm going to come in here, and to go down here because the sun is on the top. Very cold in my studio right now. I got my ski jacket on. So when it's fall, I like to think about the harvest. All right. I probably should turn this a little bit. I can see I'm going to get the shade wrong if I do that. Okay. I'm going to move this over and wait till that dries and start another section. I don't want to drag my sleeve through it. This paper is curling up on one side here a little bit, so there. Okay. Now this top part needs a little shade, so I'd only do one side. There. That really makes that pop out, doesn't it? And this could use a bit more, so I'll come in with a little more green and pop that out a bit. There. I'll just leave that like that. That's fine. I think I want to distinguish a little shape here, so I want to do that. And really afraid to do that right now. I think I'll wait. I'll come down and I'm going to work on this leaf now. Now I can always come in and add a darker pigment a little later if I think this is too light, but I always err on the side of caution. It's just a good idea. Nothing wrong with that. There we go. Now the watercolors travel differently when you're working on a dry surface too. So you have more control if you want more detail. Let's see. There we go. Now you don't want the shadow all the way around. You just want it one-sided. There. So that separates that out a little bit from the other. Let's see what else I can do. I can work on this one. Might even do that with a little bit of orange. And the reason for that is that leaf, I want it to be turning brown almost. Okay, that's dry. All right. Wow. I really think about the fact that when the pumpkin's growing, it's zapping up all the energy from this vine here, and it's going to affect the leaves if they're going to remain green at all. Is this, no, you can't see that, sorry. That's the one thing I don't like about the iPad. And I've been shopping for cameras, and I have not found the ideal camera yet. I am looking at video cameras. It takes a lot of research. I'm looking at actually video cameras, which nobody buys today, so they're very reasonable. So you go like, oh, okay, I can do that. But if they do the same thing as these big expensive cameras they want you to buy, then why not go that route? You know, you just kind of look around. I looked at GoPro. There's one artist that uses a GoPro camera. But what happens is when you do something close up, and his camera's way up above his desk, so that would work. But as close up as my camera is mounted, it would distort the painting. So there's all kinds of things you need to think about if you're buying a camera. Now, I have a background in photography, which was part of my art school training, and I actually taught photography, and I learned from the best. So I learned about depth of field, and if a lens can't hone in on, like, what have I got here? I've got only maybe 12 inches. My iPad's 12 inches off the artwork. Maybe that lens, that's too close for it. So, got to work on depth of field. When buying cameras, you've got to be careful. Okay. This is still wet in places. So I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to come down. Now that doesn't look real good yet because I think what I want to do here is come in and am I up? I'm not where you can see me. Okay. Okay, I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to do this, and do this. Remember, we staggered them. All right. Now, I would do this on an edge more, a little darker. Remember, you can come in and become a little darker. And what I'll do is I'm going to scrub Where is this? Okay, I came in, put a little darker in there. Then a little later, when all this dries, I'm going to scrub this in with a regular brush with nothing but water. But I want to get this set up and dry. Now, see how that defines that more? Just come in with the shading. Make it stand out more and pop. I love that word, pop. So when you're working on a, see, that looks like the leaf is separate from the pumpkin and it's standing on its own away from, I'm just going to give this a little distinction here. The shade, there you go. See, and that leaf just really stands out. You take and you do each one, each leaf like it's its own entity. I'm going to come in and I'm going to distinguish this one out. And there should be some shade there. You see how that begins to pop? Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go over here. I kind of work all over the painting. I go, oh, that area could use some. Oh, that area could use some. And I'm also waiting for the rest of it to dry. So I'm kind of like working on this whole thing. And it gets more and more distinguishable. Yes, ma'am. I just give that some good shade. And I'm using the dark green on this, just the green pigment straight out of the bottle. And that makes that pop more. And this could use a little. Not too much, just a little. And so we can distinguish that from the vine. We need to put this shadow in there. Now, I'm going to clean that out. And I'm going to go into the orange. Actually, is the orange? Yeah, I need orange in here. That's yellow. Orange is a little stronger. It's really funny because I didn't expect. Now I'm going to use the big brush, the big blue brush, and add water to this area here because thought that brush was clean. See, you don't want to do that. Okay, I thought it was clean. It wasn't clean. I thought it was. Okay. I put that in the clean water. Alright, I just want to lay this on here. That's much better. Because I want to make this more orangey. Down in this area. Okay. See how that spreads? That's really nice. And that will distinguish out a lot more form and shape. Put that right up against that, yeah. There. All right. There. So if I make that a little darker, that makes the top of the vine show up, see? I'm going to spread that just with a wet brush so it's not so, there we go. There we go. I'm going to clean up that brush, use that wet brush. I can see another place that I would like to move this out more. I'll show you that. Okay. It was just a little too distinct for me, so I moved that out like that a little bit. Yeah. Now actually bringing that down like that would make that leaf stand out better. When you have contrast, that works sometimes really nice. I'm just using plain water and moving this dry watercolors a little bit. Okay. I'm going to clean that out. I want to use clean water, and I want to put water right here. And what I want to do, not only remove some of that green to make that vine stand out, so I want to use a little yellow in there. That'll make that vine stand out. Okay. Now here's the other thing. The leaves are going to be a little brown here, a little more yellow here. They're not going to be consistently the same color. So by putting the yellow in there, I was able to pull out the vine more. And I think by making that yellow back there, let me lift some color. Lift and lift. Right here. I can make that. You see, that comes right off. On good paper, you can literally scrub all the color off, which is an amazing, wonderful thing. Now, so I'm going to come in, and what color is this? Well, that has yellow on it. Okay. I'm going to come in, and I'm going to put yellow there. And now the vine is standing out more. A little yellow in here too. There. Spread it out a little bit. Share the joy. What the heck? More yellow here to make this pop more. More yellow here. I'm just using straight pigment out of the bottle. Okay. So, now the way to make the edge of this leaf stand out is to make the blue darker. Now that it's dry, I'm looking at this leaf here, which looks boxy. I am going to start by just scrubbing this with clean water and working it into the leaf itself. And you notice it just dissolves. And then I can move it this way with the shape of the leaf. I'm just pushing up. And that stands out a lot better. Now I'm going to do the same with this big leaf. And I'm going to probably put a little bit more this on there, let it stain a little bit more. Yeah, and then here. So to distinguish between the pumpkin and that. Then I want to go in. I'll let that sit up, and then I'll push that more into the yellow. There we go. And then we get rid, I don't want any sharp lines with watercolors. I like them to kind of melt into the object, whatever it is. Because that's the whole idea of watercolors. Yeah. Give this some more shading. Remember, go lighter to darker. I'm coming in with a wet brush, blending even more. There we go. Now there's some areas here like this that need to be kind of refined. And let's see how I do that. By going in with a wet brush, a clean wet brush. And working that darker color down. It's wet still. Let me move this. Okay. Now you'll notice it's dissolving. There we go. See, it's dissolving and looking not so sharp, but more shaded. And you just do it with a wet, clean brush, and it does the work for you. That's why you have the 2 cups of water. Now this one. Let's see, where do I want to go from here? Alright, so I'll work on this leaf here. Alright. Now that's pretty stark. So I'm going to move this, smooth it a little bit, just so you can see that. See, it just dissolves. You know, you won't be stuck with a stark line. You know, I had one teacher that didn't believe in leaving any lines at all. Just suggestions of lines, and I went crazy with that because I was such an insecure artist at the time when I was young. I had to line everything. He said, no, you're going to try this without establishing lines. So I think watercolors taught me to do that, and really it is another way of looking at things. Now I want the shade, so I'm blending it on the top of the drawn-in line. I'm blending it there because I want the shade to be on one side of the line, if you remember me saying that, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. But, yeah. See how that just dissolves? Like sugar in water. Soften it, soften it. I love that. So you can always go back in and take that harshness out. And there you have that. So let's look at this. We just travel around and we look at this, and now I see another part I want to work on, which is this, which is kind of yuck right now in my mind. Let me get a smaller brush here. Okay, now I want to work on this a little bit, and I think I want to go in and let's see, do I want to use green? Actually, I may want to use, okay, that's a little dark. Well, actually, that's working out. So why don't I do this, which is bugging me, and start smoothing that out a little bit. And you see how you can see the difference in the vines here? And then we'll go in here and we'll smooth this out. I have to do that with a wet brush. That's just the one that's loaded with water. Let that, ooh, good, scrubby dub. Okay. There. See, it's coming to life. Now what I have is, I have a piece of paper towel here, and if there's too much water, I just do that. And I just leave it right there. Okay, that's much better. Okay. So I have to do each piece of that vine. Yeah, I need more clear water here. Now remember, I laid in a solid line of color with the idea of coming back and picking it up, and that's what I'm doing right now. Because that's just too distinct, just too in your face. For me, that is. See that? Okay. Okay. Ooh, there's some yellow in the blue there. I don't want that. So there's another way to erase a color. There we go. See, when you go in to suck up the water, it takes the color up with it. Because remember, this is watercolors. There we go. All right, now that's getting there. I'm kind of working all over it because I don't want my sleeve in the wet part. So I'll come back to that. I need to just sort of look at that for a minute. Yeah, I'll come back. And let's work on this leaf here that needs smoothing out with water. There we go. Just too blatant. That works. That works. Okay, that's softer. Now these should be, I think I want to take and put a little bit of yellow right here to really bring this out. See how I did that? Now that may or may not show up, but just it makes the leaf curve more. Remember, light comes forward and, well, actually it's the other way around. There. Okay. Now let that dry. So let's go back and review this. Now this is drying a little bit, and you can see once it's settled in that things are really distinguishing themselves. And I don't mind those little edges. They kind of add interest to the leaf. See, I'm afraid to put yellow on that because of the orange. It's too close to it. So, I don't know. I'll try it and see. Maybe it'll be okay. What the heck? You don't know. Actually, don't know. I'm going to pick that up with this brush. It's dry. There, that's perfect. I didn't want it to be white. That is much better. Happy accidents. I love happy accidents. So this is slowly developing. This is like refining a painting. Now the one leaf that's really standing out is this one. And I think I still need to blend that some and give it some character. Woo-hoo. Maybe a little yellow on the leaves. Just highlight them like right here, and like right here, and like right here. Yeah, these leaves are just spent. Alright, so do that. And then I want to use a clean wet brush to move these paints more. A little too, I like it soft. They're a little too stark. This is pad this a little bit. Yeah, just pat it just so it's not too strong. Yeah, but that makes that stand out from the pumpkin. Now to get the shade for the leaf on the pumpkin, we're going to have to come in with some orange. You know, so a little bit orange. Now I'll come back in and modify that considerably. Yeah. Okay. That's the shadow. I'll run the shadow down here too. Actually, it would be a broader shadow down here. Then we'll let that set. And I think I'll move to this leaf. And I'm going to put a little orange on the edge. That's the edge that's facing away from the sun. All right. I have a feeling I need to, I look at it and I go, you know what? I need a little bit of color on this vine up here. So, just got too much of that white going on again. Well, maybe that's okay. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. We'll put a little more shade here. And this is just the green. I'm only using 4 colors in this thing. Yeah. I'll put that in the green, the shade too. There, that's popping now. Yeah, much better. Give that a little touch of green there. There. See how that's sharpening up now? It's starting to distinguish itself. And I just kind of work all over the painting. And I try different things. And I go, is that going to work? Yeah, that's going to work. Now we're coming down to this vine. I haven't worked on this in a while. And you got to remember, this is all drying. Alright, so this, I think I want to distinguish a bit more. Oh, here we go. You got to really think about shadow on this. I'm going to use this little fine brush to pick up some color here because this is way too dark. Take that paper towel and soak that up. See how that picks that up? Use any trick in the book you can think of, that you think of. Even tricks like, what do you use a paper towel for in the kitchen? Well, it's going to work the same thing here. There we go. I may have to make this darker, I don't know. Because again, we're having a little problem with it blending into the... No, that's fine. That's good. That's working. Yes. I get so excited when things come together. Paintings take so long to do. But you know, they're meditation. Just like drawing is. And they're meditation experimentation. It really calls on your powers of observation. How do you see things? Can you see the shadow in things? Do you know what direction the sun's in? Blah, blah, blah. All of that. I see another area. Alright, it's right here. It's white. I don't want that white. So I'm going to come in with some more green. There we go. And I think I need a little bit more here. And this is pretty harsh. So what I'd like to do is leave that shadow, but bring this up more, pick this up more. It doesn't need to be quite that sharp down here. Now because this yellow is still wet, I am not going to use the paper towel. So I will clean out my brush and I will absorb, this is that cohesion stuff, absorb the color. There. That's much better. And then what I want to do is smooth this out more and fill in those little white spots there. Okay. That's much better. And then this could be smoothed out. And this could be smoothed out. Now you see how that's starting to look a lot smoother. So what you do is you go back in and you lift and add and lift and add and lift and add. And just play with it and go back and forth. And you have to realize that painting takes patience. Yes, indeedy. So I'm liking how this is coming out. Now I look at that leaf and I think it's too stark, but I am going to put some yellow. I'm going to go back to this vine. It's funny how it presents itself to you. Yes, indeedy. So there you go. Oop. That was pretty tricky. So I think I'll highlight that leaf with more yellow to get rid of those white spots. Yes, indeedy, it's looking better. Now I like down here the distinction because this is kind of in the shade, and so I like the contrast. And when I work up here and I know it's in the sun, I make it smoother. And then this is in the distance, it's just suggested. But this leaf here and this leaf over here are jumping out at me in a way I don't like. So I am going to soften them some. I think I'm just about getting to the end of this painting. Believe that. All right, so let's kind of soften. We'll work on this leaf first. You just want to suggest something. Here you don't want it real, like a drawing, you don't want it like that. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for now. I can see I'm going to have to go back and build on that. So, what am I doing here? I gotta see this. You're on a merry-go-round with me today. Alright, let's clean the brush out. Just use pure water. And we're gonna go in and smooth this out even more. Soften it even more. Because this is up more in the sunlight. I don't want to make it more yellow, but I do want to kind of soften those lines. Part of that is the pencil. And then I'm going down here, and I'm seeing the same value here as it's here, and I need to put in a little bit of green there. There we go. Just to make it look separate from the pumpkin. You don't want it to be the same value. You want to make that thing jump up and go, oh, yes, I'm a separate entity from you. There we go. Now, unfortunately, the pencil lines are sticking through there. Could be unfortunate, or it couldn't be. What I might do is come in with some heavier green here and see if I can't I do want to suggest green here. I really do. Well, maybe not highlighted as much. There we go. Then that could work. You kind of have to solve each problem as it comes up. When you hear the two swishes, you know the one brush is going into the clean water. I want to take and pick some of this up. There, I might make that a little greener leaf. That would also solve that problem. Yes, ma'am. That would make that stand out. It's funny how it presents itself. Now, if I wanted to come in with this with pen and ink, I could, but that's like a crutch. All right. So now I'm looking at this top one, and I'm beginning to see where it could use more of this. And that looks good. And that looks good again. I'm putting it back in. See how that goes? Oh, okay. I won't do that then. I think I know what I need to do now. I think I figured it out. Yeah. Well, I think you got to see how I developed this pumpkin. And I could go in with darker blue here. Is this the blue? This is the blue. I haven't even worked with the blue yet. Where I could go in and just use the blue to make things pop more. Well, you know, actually, that should be lift it out of there. There's a bad spot there. I'm going to lift this out. This little green spot here, I want out of here. You're out of here. I want that to be blue. See how that lifts right out? That's so wonderful. You can get that paper right down to the white. That's a lot better. Okay, because I didn't like that. Okay, I'm beginning to see when I did that. Anyway, there's a lot I could develop on this. This could get crazy and wild and be hours and hours long. I'm definitely not through with this, but you did get to see some techniques I use for doing watercolors. I will finish this off probably on my own because I can't afford to leave anything unfinished. I'm just that kind of a person. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming to my studio, and I hope that you will try doing a very simple watercolor like this and then developing it. Just remember, it is a meditation. So you kind of look at it and it'll go, oh, hey, you need more here, you need more there. The painting will talk to you. Just give it time to develop. You can't afford to be impatient. Thanks again. Take it easy. Have a good day.